Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to do our adult forum. We are a small but mighty group. Hank. Wes, are we rolling? Okay, so this is not going to be a seated thing, but you can stay seated for now. But then when I call you up to move, you are going to move. Okay, so don't think that you're going to get away with just sitting in your seats. So is there anyone here I don't know personally? I'm Treat, head of the Stewardship campaign, and we have several of our lovely committee members in the audience today. So Marty, Liz is somewhere, Diantha. No, Marty's there, but Liz, Diantha's here, Andy. I appreciate all of those of you who have joined the committee. So what we're going to do is we're going to play our little game. I don't know if you remember this from last year, but we're going to play our little game about what you know about St. Philip's finances. But first, Wes, would you be so kind as to flip the slide? So this year's theme is building belonging together. Is there anyone that did not receive a mailing at home for the Stewardship plug? Anyone who did not? You did not? Okay. So physical mail, yes. Okay, so if you would like to receive one, please give us your address. If you don't want to, we can give you all of this information online. But anyway, so our theme, Building Belonging Together, is so that all of us are very aware that this is a community of people and we love each other. We belong to God, we belong to each other. And so our questions this morning, where do you find belonging at St. Philip's? And I would love to have somebody just presence that for themselves and for the rest of us, because you've heard from me a lot this morning. Does anyone want to share where you find belonging here at St. Philip's? Just say your name because people are on this.
All right. I'm Diantha, and as you probably recognize, that's not a typical name that you hear all the time. And so that's one place I have found belonging at St. Philip's. I just had a conversation with somebody like 10 minutes ago, making sure they had my name right. So that's just one of those beautiful things for all of us to make sure we know who someone's name is.
That's great. Anyone else want to talk about where they find belonging? Sue. Can you put yourself in front of the camera for the Zoom people? Thank you.
Okay, so I'm Sue, and there are so many places that I could just randomly pick one. So I'm going to pick one that is a little different, and that is that I am a chalice bearer and a lector and intercessor, but particularly being a chalice bearer, being up at the altar with people that I often am up at the altar with, like Treat. She and I have sat beside each other and perhaps nudged each other from time to time. And so it's just that serving in that capacity where you sort of see what's going on up there and you interact with other people, and particularly during Holy Week when you interact with them night after night after night, is really, it really adds meaning both to worship and community at the same time. So I would say that's my thing.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue. That's and you certainly spoke for me. Good, Dottie. Okay. Would you just stand in front of the camera?
Okay.
So thank you. And introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Dorothy Smith, and I belong to the senior row in the elderly group. I consider myself the great-grandmother of St. Philip's, and I love the children. I like to mingle with the 9 o'clock people so I can learn who they are and what they're doing, and their service is very inspirational to see the little ones sitting around and enjoying worship, which is unusual in most churches. I am currently handling the UTO offerings for this fall. We just got a report on where the grants were awarded for last year, and it's on the bulletin board here. And I was very pleased to see that one grant went to the Diocese of Jerusalem, The Christians there are mainly Palestinians, right, Donna? No? The Christians there in the Diocese of Jerusalem are mainly Palestinians. Yeah. So I don't mean to be political, but I think that was a nice grant and then we participated in, and we have a great note of thank you for our participation because our offering last year was quite large. And I think that speaks well of St. Philip's. I am still a member of ECW, the Episcopal Church Women, organization that I really depended on my younger years, and I appreciate it. I sing in the funeral choir, and sadly that's coming up this Saturday too. So I sort of keep my eye on things that we're doing and support them, even though I'm less active than I used to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Dorothy. That, I mean, living testament to what this place, what you bring to this place and what I think this place brings to you. So, so great. It's so good to hear these stories. Wes, you want to? So I guess if, is there anyone who wants to talk about what this, you know, when Marianne says there's a place for you here at St. Philip's, and she says this every Sunday at every service, which is really beautiful, like where you are on your faith journey. You know, is there somebody who wants to talk about what this means to you as a parishioner, that there's a place for you? Anyone? Please. Just introduce yourself, and the camera's over there. So.
Hi, I'm Isabella. I started coming to St. Philip's in January as sort of a New Year's resolution to try new things, one of which was the Episcopal Church. I am, I started the year a little angry at God and with a lot of doubt. I think a lot of that came from how other Christian denominations treated me. I am openly engaged to a woman. We are getting married here next year. Yeah, so hearing this every week really, you know, started to change my perception of maybe not everyone is, you know, so hateful towards me, or I can question or be open to different points of view, that it's not just this is one way to be a Christian. So, yeah.
Now I understand. Now I see who you are. Thank you. Your Diantha is, yes, that's great. Thank you. Well, okay, so I hope, wow, that was, I found that really powerful as someone who has stood in the very same space as you here for many years. So let's move on with our program. So I wrote this title, Parish Fun with Finance, and then I was like, you know, no funny business, okay? We're very serious about our finances in the finance committee, so no cooking the books. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to have a series of questions, and you just, Wes, go very slowly through these because, you know, you don't wanna go ahead because that'll reveal the answer. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at the question, you're going to look at the possible answers, and you're going to put yourself in front of A, B, or C, depending on what you think the correct answer is, and then we will reveal it. So this is the time when you get up out of your chairs, and approximately what percentage of the annual parish budget do pledging and plate cover today? So, okay. No, okay. You know, and you can mislead people if you know the answer and you want to mislead someone and stand at another letter, you can do that. So, okay, so we got A's, B's, and C's. And everyone is thoughtfully considering this. Okay. So everyone feel committed to their answer. And Wes, would you please reveal? Go to the next. 53%. Okay, so that's A. So let's I mean, think about that. You know, like we give a lot of money and we need to because half of our budget, more than half of our budget, is covered by pledges and the payments of the pledges. Okay, next question, Wes. I have to always put in a reminder that the actual payment is what is what helps us. Okay, so approximately what percentage of the annual budget did pledging and plate cover pre-pandemic? So I think this is important because you know, it was a different time, a different era. So think back 6 years ago, what do you think that this parish do 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 so, okay, so we got lots of B's, a few C's. Okay, Wes. Yes. Okay. Look at you all knowing that it was a different story back in pre-pandemic times. Okay, cool. Wes, would you like to? Okay. Oh, okay. Wes is a new grandfather, so we're going to give him some grace for going. I know, right? He has twin grandsons, identical twin grandsons. So let's give him a break. But okay, just think about it. Pretend you didn't see that. What percentage of this year's budget goes towards staff? I know. So, I know. There was a pie chart in your stewardship mailing, which would have given you this answer. Oh, I love this. People are like trying to, okay, yeah, yeah, it's like, okay, all right, go ahead, Wes. Okay, 57%. Okay, y'all. Yes. Okay, good. You either paid attention or you actually read your stewardship mailing, and I appreciate either one. Okay, that's great. So, you know, staff and clergy are a big part of our budget. And as if you think about this for 5 minutes, you realize like they are the engine that makes all of this stuff work, right? So we volunteers are doing the best we can, but without people tending the home fires and answering the phones and doing all the background work, we cannot do anything here. So yay. Okay. Question 4, Wes, slowly. Okay. What percentage of this year's budget goes to a combination of the trees, worship, and outreach? And again, this was in the mailing. So, you know, how carefully did you read those numbers? And look, I'm going to be really impressed if people actually remember this and can do the math of these 3 things. Okay, so we got a lot of A's, we got a few B's, we got a couple C's. Okay, Wes, 18%. Okay, so that, okay, what were the numbers? Go back for a second. Okay, so you might, I guess a lot of people thought more of the money was going, but you know, 18% is a good solid amount. I will say that the vestry is looking to up the amount of money that goes to the outreach segment. So that is good. That's a commitment that we have. Yeah, I mean, we would, right, ideally we will get to that tithing level. And I think this year there's a commitment to do that. So yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, now, next one. Music and children's formation programming at St. Philip's are supported by pledges and plate, endowment, or both. A, B, or C. Okay. All right. So people, you've done your homework, I think. Okay, let's reveal. Yes, both endowment and pledge and plate funds. So you probably know that we do have a very robust endowment, which is fairly unusual for churches, you know, for a lot of churches. But we do use our endowment to support, you know, a lot of the operations and the really good programming that we do here. So good job, everybody. Okay, next one, question 6. All right, so thinking back pre-pandemic, how many families pledged in 2019? Do we remember that long ago. Again, just trying to get you to kind of have a sense of the difference between pre-pandemic and pandemic times. Okay, so we have mostly C's, few B's, 1A. Okay, ready, Wes? 254. Okay, so our parish was a little bit bigger back then, and that's great. And just remembering life is very different now. Okay, so now the next question is how many families pledged at St. Philip's this year? So I mean, in the the current year that we're in, so we got A, B, and C. Here we go. Everyone's moving. Okay, we got some A's and B's, and the answer is B, 174. So it was a big drop, but I think what's important to remember is that the world has changed. A lot of people have moved, and so don't think of it as, oh my gosh, only that many. It's just our numbers are lower, but I think what it says to me is, we just have to work harder to make sure that everybody in the parish really steps up in some way, in whatever way they can, because every dollar counts, and it's like got to pool our resources. So okay, good. Well, good job, y'all. Question 8: how many families increased their pledges at St. Philip's this year? 79, 91, or 105? So obnoxious. Okay, look at this. We got some we got mostly A's. Okay, so Wes. Ha ha, oh ye of little faith. Yeah. 91 people, thank you, 3. 91 people increased their pledges. That is, I think, really impressive this past year. So yeah, just it's really heartening to know that people looked and heard our message and said, yeah, I'm gonna step up a little bit. Okay, question 9. Okay, we're going to talk just a tiny bit about the endowment funding, because we like to remind people about, that we do have an endowment, which is an incredible gift. Many churches don't. So the amount of endowment funding available to support the budget remains the same each year, shrinks every year as we draw from it to balance our budget, or shrinks some years and grows other years depending on the performance of the stock market, which, not going to make too many comments about that. Okay, so we've got mostly, okay, Dorothy, are you prevaricating? What's going on here? You're standing in the middle. Yeah, okay, you're an A. Okay, good. Okay, Wes? Yes, it shrinks some years and grows other years depending on the performance of the stock market. Good job. This is what the poor vestry has to deal with when sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, and you just, yeah, you can do a 13-month average, but I mean, it's like, it does, there's some thought that goes into this, and we do have a good money manager, but it's, the reality is that the market does kind of have an impact on our budgets. Okay, question 10. So, trick question maybe, I don't know. The use of our endowment funds is totally unrestricted, is totally restricted, is partially restricted. Okay, now we've got some people moving, we've got many people hanging out at sea. Okay, got a couple B's. Okay, Wes. Partially restricted. So what that means is, and yeah, I think if you know anything about endowments, it's like people will give money to an endowment and they will ask for something very specific to be funded. And then some people will give into an endowment and say, use this however you need to at the church. So we have, some of you probably remember when Hildegard Riles died, she made some bequests that were going towards, environmental kind of our environmental creation work and youth programming. So we have a lot of things that are paid for that way. You know, Jacqueline Harris, when she left the trees, actually left money for our endowment, but made it completely unrestricted, which was a beautiful thing. So anyway, it is a balance. And again, the vestry has to do that balancing, like where are we going to put this money versus, you know, the restricted money versus like how much do we take the unrestricted money and put it towards different projects. So cool. Okay, good. Question 11. Okay, 2026 pledges should be paid off by January 1, 2026, June 30, 2026, or December 31, 2026. I'm very, very glad to see that. Yes, don't, Isabella, do not move. I'm glad to see everyone understands, Wes, that yes, they don't have to be paid off until the end of the year. So you've got all of 2026 to pay off your pledge. You can spread it out in a monthly payment. You can give it all at once if you want, but you know, for me, my budget, it's like I like the monthly payment thing. You know, you get it automatically debited. It's so fun because it makes it easier to give a bigger gift when it's spread out. Okay, thank you. Good job, everybody. Good job, Isabel. Okay, next. Okay. Sorry, what? Were you asking something? No, okay. Percentage of pledges made online this year. Okay, this is a biggie. I mean, a biggie in the sense that this Liz Sappenfield, who is here in our presence, set up the online system for us to be able to make our pledges online. It was like manna from heaven, as far as I was concerned. So, how many people do you think took advantage of that? Again, you know, it was the system was set up. The question is, how many people do you think actually plugged into the system once it was set up? Okay, is everybody is everybody pretty committed to where they are? Okay, are you a B or are you a C? Where are you? You're kind of in the middle here. You're a B? Okay, good. Okay, here we go. 56%. I mean, whoa. Go Liz, right? Because that is really fantastic that more than half of us were able to make our pledge online because it's so simple, so easy. And I hope this year we'll have even more people just because we're trying to make things a lot simpler. You can send in your pledge card. We love that. But you can also go online and make a pledge. Okay. Bonus question. Worth 3 points because I don't know about you, but I'm totally keeping track of everyone's score. How do I know how much to pledge? Okay. Would you like to read these for us?
Sure. How do I know how much to pledge? A, prayerful consideration. B, follow your heart. C, fixed giving. D, proportional giving. E, working towards a tithe. F, out of gratitude. And G, the importance you place on the worship programs and ministries of St. Philip's. And just choose one. Is that
I know it's like you're like, where's D, E, F, and G? Okay, we might have to do like a call out thing or roll it, baby. All of the above, right? Huh? How's that? All of the above. So I would like to know, okay, Andy, how do you think you are going to know how much to pledge?
All of the above.
Is there one that speaks more to you than others?
Let's see. It's going to be a mix of A, B, definitely, and F and G.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, when I think about, okay, you guys have to know that I am a fundraiser for a living. And so leading the stewardship campaign is not, it's kind of like what they call a busman's holiday. But I will tell you, the reason I am doing this is because I love this parish. I love, love, love this place. I love it because all of you are here. I love it because it was a port in the storm for me at a time in my life when everything else was falling apart. And so yeah, I mean, I just when I think about like, oh my God, I'm not getting a raise at work, and how am I going to do this? And then I get to F, and I'm like, but I would not be here today if I had not had this place. Like in COVID, and we were out in the garden close having services, and we were allowed in 5 of us at a time in the church. And so I just like, to me, my level of gratitude is why I do this. Y'all have different reasons, and I encourage you to think about, like, what does this place mean to you, and why would you give? You know. So anyway, I believe that is all of our questions. I really appreciate all of you being here and just participating today, and kind of hope you'll take these questions and answers out to your fellow parishioners, because we were kind of a small group. But if everyone talks to each other and encourages folks to just think about how and why we belong here at St. Philip's together, I think it can be really powerful. Do you want to add something, Liz?
Do some Q&A if you need to.
Yes, I do. I do have to go vest, but I've got like 5 minutes, so I can. But I would love it if you would let these nice people not have to hear from me all the time. Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the budget or the pledge campaign or how any of this stuff works? We would be happy to answer them now. Yes, Marty.
I sure do love the theme for the year. Oh, that's right. I love the theme for this year, building belonging together. That is really beautiful. And I would just love to hear a little bit more story of it. I don't know if from Stewardship Committee or from other people, like when you saw that in your handout, what did you think? What did it invoke for you?
Um, Yeah, I'll just say something really quick. So when we were meeting together when we just started to meet together as a committee, I mean, I think this was building and belonging and togetherness. Were just as well as a couple of other things were just some of the themes that we're in the background and we're swirling in our brains, and so we just kind of came together to um, just to combine those things, and I think it all just kind of resonated with us, and we also had some visuals of physically things coming together, like blocks and so forth. So, sorry. Anyone else?
Thank you, Andy. Yeah, because we literally sat around a table, and I know for Marianne and the clergy this year, the theme of connection is really important, and I think any of us who go here, I think we value the connection that we have with each other. I mean, I see it when I when I walk into church, and sometimes because, as Sue mentioned, we're often up on the altar, and I look over the congregation, and I see people during the Kiss of Peace, interacting with each other, and even when I'm at home on Zoom, I watch that moment because it gives me so much joy to see how people want to move around the pews and say and really greet in a profound way the people that they worship with. And so I think for Marianne, when she asked us to consider like connection as the starting point for the theme, that made like connection, belonging, and then how do we do that together? So we are not, this is just not, it's certainly not my show. It's not, I mean, Marianne says this every week. It's not St. Philip's table, it's God's table. And it's like, how do we do that all together as a community? And I will say, given what's going on in the outside world, again, as Dorothy said, I'm not going to get too political, but I really value this particular group of people. And I was at the 8 o'clock, the 9 o'clock. I will be at the 11 o'clock, and just seeing the people in each group that gathers here for service. It is, it's like a cohesive whole, and people tend to get to know each other in their services. But then when I look at these groups of people that I don't normally interact with, so like at 8 and 9, because I'm
Give me a
out,
minute and I'll get out of
I
this.
think I love these are people I've known a lot.
Sermon or
And
lecture?
I
No,
think
it's
I happen to go to
white
8 o'clock, so when I
formation.
see them, it's really
Sunday
special.
school
And I think
Episcopal
that's what
Church.
this idea of being
Kinda.
connected is, that
Different
the theme
topics
for
every week.
stewardship, stewardship is about money in the end, but what it really is about is why
I
does
forgot how to get out of Zoom.
what do we mean to each other? So anyway, sorry, I'm
I'll turn it off.
way poetic, not too poetic, but is there anyone else that, there's, I know I have to go get vested. Anyway, thank you all. And thank you, Liz, for wrapping up.
Yay. Okay, two things to flag for you. Commitment Sunday is October 12th. It's also St. Philip's Day. Okay, thank you. So we're hoping that everybody will have submitted their pledges sometime before October 12th, or you can bring it on October 12th and put it in the collection plate. We encourage you to pledge online because it makes things a lot easier for the staff. It means that the office staff doesn't have to manually enter your pledge and try to read your handwriting. And then also, there was a page in your pledge packet about the online directory. And so starting this year with this pledge season, everybody is automatically opted in to be participating in the online directory. So you have to log into Realm in order to check the directory. And so it's only St. Philippians. It's not publicly available information. And if you want to opt out, all you have to do is let the office know, and you can do that with a piece of paper that's in your pledge packet, or you can call the office and say, I want to opt out of the directory. And so in the next few coming weeks, between now and St. Philip's Day, there will be little tables, booths of people who can help you figure out how to work Realm. But it would be really great if you want to send somebody a birthday card or a condolence card, or you want to call somebody and invite them to an event. If you had their information easily accessible to you, just like in the old days when you got a paper book with people's photos. Anything else? Last questions? Andy.
Okay, so question, how much influence does the vestry have on the budgeting process and all of that stuff? Because I know there's a finance or there's a treasurer, and then there's probably a finance committee too, right? So would you be able to talk about that, or is that putting you on the spot, Liz? Or you, Marty?
Okay. Marty's our senior warden.
So let's see. So there is a treasurer who is a volunteer in this church, and Marcus Sutherland. I don't know if he's here, but and then there's also a finance committee, which is about, I don't know, 5, 6 people. A couple of them are vestry members, but then we have other parishioners. And then finally you have the vestry, which is kind of the governing body of the church. And so we take input from all the different groups that are represented in the church, everything, the outreach, the in-reach, of course, the staffing and all those things. But it all has to be voted on or approved by the vestry. So everything goes through the vestry, and the finance committee meets monthly just to kind of keep an eye on the books and what's coming up and what's due and how the endowments are doing and how the pledges are coming in. But when it comes time to finalize the budget at the end of the year, the vestry votes on it. So it's all in there. And they, and we're, you know, one thing that we keep working on more and more is making all of this stuff readily available to everyone in the parish so that it's transparent. And if you have any questions, any particular questions about it, we definitely want to answer. Does that make sense? Yeah? Excellent. People who have been on the vestry a little bit longer may be able to add to that or clarify. Okay.
That's it. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.